At Lehigh University, to Bill Leckenby, Director of Athletics, Sam Connor, Director of Public Information, Craig Anderson, Business Manager for Athletics, and Joe Rittenauer, Director of Sports Information. Novak airs one out, downfield, and it is overthrown. Pass intended way downfield to Carmine DeSantis, who's already grabbed one of Novak's aerials today, but this one was thrown too far. Back defending for Lehigh was Dave Mecca.
And again, we see that they're able to overthrow these receivers on up patterns, and that's awfully tough to do with that wind. The Lehigh rushing defense, really a remarkable job. And looking at the first half stats, Lafayette carried the ball 21 times for 18 yards total. In the second half, of course, other than that one breakaway by Novak on the scramble, haven't been much better.
Ball is at the 46-yard line. Novak's back again, runs out of the pocket being chased, and flutters one out incomplete. The ball was tipped at the 40-yard line. It did fall incomplete. And we have a 3rd down and 10.
Russ Becker playing a great game on defense today, put a lot of pressure on, helped out by Carl Nielsen, but we see a holding pattern, or penalty rather, with 3rd and 10. The engineers are thinking about whether they're going to take this penalty or not.
I think they ought to take it. Certainly field position is going to be important, and it's 15 yards from the point of the penalty, which is a good 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
I guess it's actually 4th down. That was the problem. The scoreboard, now that we have the time operating, we don't have the down operating. We will take the 4th down on that play.
We'll hear the call.
Illegal use of hands, offense, declined. 4th down.
And so it will be 4th down as the penalty is declined, and it'll be a 4th down and 10 situation.
I think I'd have taken that penalty. That was a 23-yard penalty we were looking at there.
Lehigh elects to at least get the ball back, and Tui will be standing back on his 15-yard line. Shar will be kicking it from the Lafayette 40. It's a good pass from center, and it's a line drive coming down the field, and Tui is going to let the ball just roll dead at the 14, and that's where the engineers will put it in play with 13:10 remaining here in the game. Denny?
With first-year support totaling $2.5 million from a number of major industrial firms, Lehigh University is mounting a pioneering educational effort in the relatively new technology known as CAD/CAM, Computer-Aided Design and Computer-Aided Manufacturing. Lehigh is the only university in the country currently offering comprehensive educational programs which come to grips with problems of integrating design and manufacturing. The programs will help Lehigh to be an important source of engineers and managers for corporations.
Joe Raybach on the first Lehigh play brings the ball out to the 20-yard line. A pickup on the play of about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as time becomes a factor in the wind, which has been a factor this entire football game in the kicking and the passing game now, favors Lehigh University's Larry Mikulski. Wind blowing from west to east at the back of the Lehigh quarterback. 12:44 remaining in the football game. A titanic battle, 3-3, no touchdowns, 2 field goals. Ball carried by Sexton, and he loses 2 yards as he tries to move across the right side of the Leopard line.
Green and Calhoun on the stop. Tony Green's been very active today.
I'll tell you, nobody's gone home. Better than 19,000 fans, the largest crowd in football history here at Lehigh, and they've seen a humdinger of a football game.
They haven't left because they're frozen solid to their seats.
Chris Sexton on his 3rd carry of the game has not been able to get any yardage. He has been the most effective long yardage runner for the engineers this year.
Fake counter, Mikulski is tripped and dropped back on the 6-yard line.
Calhoun once again.
You're going to see a marvelous defensive play here by Calhoun. Mikulski just heard thunder and hoofbeats behind himself there. He didn't even see where he was going to be hit. And Calhoun just tossed him to the turf at the 9-yard line.
Calhoun, a junior, has started all the games in the last 2 years. Doesn't get much credit, not spectacular, but he's always there.
Might mention he had a chance for one of those vicious hits that you see so often in football, and it might be a sign of the type of rivalry that it was a very clean tackle.
Ryan kicking, trying to block it. Ryan does get it away, 50 yards upfield. Cogdigny running it back, Heads for the sidelines. Smith missed a tackle, but then finally ran him out of bounds, and the Leopards once again have it in Engineers territory. Ed, it was obvious that was a 9-man rush, and he was surrounded by white jerseys, and Ryan just got the ball away.
Lafayette has had good success this year in getting to the kicker, putting a lot of pressure on the punter.
Ball is at the 43-yard line. 11 minutes and 4 seconds now remain in the football game. Ball carried by Craig Williams. He has 1 yard to the 41.
In one of Craig's infrequent carries, they're going to have to do something to take a little bit of the pressure off the passing game. They've been in the third quarter, all they did was pass the ball.
In the pregame discussions between Lehigh and Lafayette, the press was involved. Everyone said that this was a very close matchup on the basis of record and everything else. And that's precisely what this game has turned out to be. Lafayette has had by far the better scoring opportunities. Shepko gets back to the 41-yard line. Lafayette in this football game, in addition to the 3 scored on the field goal by Petty, Lafayette had the ball at the 11, first down, could not score on a sequence of plays in the third quarter. They had the ball at the 3-yard line, tried 4 times to crack the Lehigh defense, could not do it. And so the Leopards once again now have it at the Lehigh 41-yard line, and the Engineers defense will be forced to rise again. And the aggressive play of Lafayette may tell here in the closing moments of this football game. Novak's gonna air one out. Downfield, and Cognigney has it, but he's 6 yards out of bounds.
He's gonna call pass interference, it looks like.
He pulled the wrong flag, I think.
I think he was just blowing his nose there, and he was trying to get a handkerchief out.
I was going to say, Mike Toohey just stopped still and let the defender go for the ball all by himself, and it would have been a little hard to believe, but they are talking about it. No penalty.
Cognigney had the ball, but he was out of bounds by 4 or 5 yards when he finally did catch it.
Toohey realized that he was running out of real estate. There was no point in risking the interference, and not sure why the referee reached for anything at all.
Shar will be punting for Lafayette from his 45-yard line with 9:46 remaining in the football game. 4th and 8. Mike Toohey back for Lehigh at the 10-yard line. Good kick coming upfield, and Toohey's going to let the ball bounce. The Leopards trying to keep it in, and do they do it?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I believe we do have a touchback. I don't know. The ball was hit by one of the Leopards trying to keep it before it took that final bounce into the end zone. But I believe it may be brought out to the 20. The Lafayette fans do not like that call, but they apparently ruled that he was down and the ball did hit. And it's a touchback, and it comes out to the 20-yard line.
The last man to touch the ball allowed his body to be over the goal line while he was touching the ball. It's a very difficult play, of course. The first man down made a tremendous move to bat the ball back. That's the key.
I think he might have been in the end zone when he touched it, though, and that was the
Let's
reason
look
they
at
brought
it.
back.
You can see for yourself. The fair catch called. The ball starts to bound around. And
Oh, it's close. Very close.
Back to game action. Mikulski's going to throw it. And it is intercepted. Lucy, 35, 30, down to the 31-yard line before Joe Raybuck brings him down. Pass intercepted by Frank Lucy of Lafayette. And with 9:27 now remaining in the football game, the Leopards will be on the offense again.
Tom Nichols was open for a time, but the ball was up in the air too long, and it was thrown into double coverage.
Didn't look like one of Mikulski's better efforts on that one.
Ball is at the 32-yard line now. Shepko and Williams are the 2 deep backs. Novak play action pass intended to Williams, but it was thrown behind him, and interference is being called on Lehigh.
Either that or a personal foul. I can't see how it would have been interference.
Well, the flag went down right at the point where the pass was thrown, and we'll see what the call will be.
Something like that can really turn out to be the break of a game.
Personal foul.
You know, Craig Williams is a big, tough kid, but he currently holds Lafayette's longest touchdown pass of 87 yards, which he got earlier this season. It was on a screen, an 87-yard screen pass.
Well, it didn't look like much of a hit, especially against a 225-pound fullback, but that's the call.
Defense hitting the man who didn't touch the ball. First down.
So, first down at the 16-yard line. You heard the official call. The Leopards have it now. 9:53 remaining in the football game. Williams inside. Shepko deep. Novak's going to throw it. He's got a completion at the 10-yard line. And Carbo steps out of bounds. He was dancing down the sidelines. Finally did step out of bounds at the 9-yard line. And the Lafayette fans across the field, as you can see, going absolutely crazy. The ball at the 8-yard line. Let's look at it on replay. Pass completed, and you'll see the missed tackle, and right there on the line, and that's where it's called.
Corbo got his chance to play earlier in the year when Gatehouse and Cognigny were both out, and you can see that experience has really helped him today.
Second down and 2. Novak with a lot of options on the 2nd and 2. Elects to give to Shepko. Shepko breaks and is in for a touchdown.
Roger Shepko, Lafayette's season-leading rusher and on his way probably to the all-time career record, scores for the Leopards. You see here a great through block by Williams, and he fought his way the extra 2 or 3 yards to get into the end zone.
And so the Leopards, who were knocking on that touchdown door throughout most of this football game, go in with 9 minutes and 11 seconds remaining. Petty will try the extra point. The kick is up, it is good, and with 9:11 remaining in the game, it's Lafayette 10 and Lehigh 3.
You just had to wonder, how long that Shepko was going to be held down. This is a guy that's had 5 games with 100 yards or more, and twice during the season he's had 200-yard games, 214 against Columbia, 245 against Kings Point. A very good running back, and he'll be back for another year.
Let's take a look at this replay. The touchdown by Roger Shepko, moving over the right side of the line, is hit right at the 2-yard line, but manages to have his momentum carry himself right into the end zone. Teddy's kick is good, and it's a 10-3 football game.
Lafayette has been very right-handed this year because they've got their 2 biggest and best linemen, Bialy and Stahl, on the right-hand side, but that time you got to give Clifford, Tobias, and Yogan credit. He went to the left.
Godbolt and Sexton are back for Lehigh at the 5-yard line, and a lot of time remaining in this football game. Larry Mikulski, as everyone knows, can fill the air with footballs. He's got the breeze at his back in the closing moments of this football game that has kept people riveted to their seats. Lehigh and Lafayette, both 8-2 on the season, coming right down the wire in college football's most played rivalry. A short kick coming up the field. It's picked up by Mannion, and it comes out to the 35-yard line, and so Lehigh picks up excellent field position on the very short kickoff.
Well, this is an important series of downs for Lehigh. They now have decent field position. This is when Mikulski's got to get them moving if they want to put some pressure on the Leopards.
Mikulski at quarterback on the slot right. Mikulski back to throw. Play action to the left side. Incomplete pass at the 31-yard line. The Leopards think it was complete with a fumble. There you see the game score last year, 32-0. But this year, the game has been Lafayette's, the Engineers, trailing in this game by a score of 10-3. At this moment, we have 9:03 remaining in the football game.
The pass was there that time. Carrillo and Byrne did an excellent job. Carrillo really laid a vicious hit on their intended receiver. You got Bob Shaw in the game now. Marmou's out on Ryan.
Mikulski hands off and dashing into the backfield. On the blitz is number 64 again, Tony Green, who's been in that Lehigh backfield a good part of the afternoon.
Can't say enough about those 4 guys playing those front 3 positions. Larson, Dreyer, Green, these guys have just doing an exceptional job.
Third down and 12, 8:30 remaining in the football game. Mikulski brings his team out of the eye. Back to throw again. He's being chased and he's being sacked at the 25-yard line. Momentarily fumbled the ball away, and it was recovered by the Engineers and brought out at the 29-yard line, and so the Leopards will get the football back. There you see the Lambert Cup coming into this football game with the distinct possibility that Lehigh and Lafayette, we're going to switch positions if this football game remains as it is. 10-3, Lafayette leading, 7:52 remaining in the football game. Ryan's kick is a honey. Wow.
Not Danny Ryan.
Way back to the 15, 20, 25. Cognigny with it. Ball brought out to the 30-yard line.
Mike O'Hagan actually punting that ball.
That was Mike O'Hagan, not Ryan. And that, Denny, that ball, I believe, was kicked from 115 down to the other one.
I'm not sure who's been kicking the last 1 or 2, whether that's his first of the game, quite honestly.
That one covered 70 yards in the air from the place it was kicked from. The ball at the 30-yard line now for the Leopards.
If he's not a senior, I think they found a punter for next year.
The Leopards now will try to eat up some clock. 7:32 remaining in the football game. Novak's going to throw it. Out to the 37-yard line.
That was Cognigny on the reception.
And Cognigny made a honey of a catch at the 37 for a 7-yard pickup.
You mentioned, Shell, that Novak came out throwing right away. Russo down in Davidson felt he made a mistake when he got up 14-0 and sat on the lead a little bit. And Davidson came back and almost beat them. The final was 14-7. So Bill does not want to do that today. He wants to keep going and heading for the goal line if he can.
Second down and 3, 6 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in the game. Lafayette leading 10-3 over Lehigh. On the option, Novak keeping, and he runs out of bounds at the 42-yard line, but not before he picks up a first down, stopping the clock with 6:44 remaining.
Got to hit that quarterback above all. Novak hasn't been doing a lot of running today, but he's done an effective job of rolling out, and the Engineers just didn't put any contact on the quarterback, and he took a very easy first down there.
Roger Shepko, an 8-yard run for the only touchdown in this football game. Before that, 2 field goals, one by Whalen of Lehigh, one by Petty of Lafayette. That's all the scoring there was until Shepko went in. Novak throws. He's got a completion at the 49-yard line. Opatkowitz, again, close to a first down, but short by about a yard.
And Novak threading the needle here. He throws over the outstretched hand of the Lehigh defender.
On that play, you see Novak faked the option and then dropped back to throw the ball. Held the linebackers in. He was able to just loft it to Opatkowitz over the outstretched hand of the linebacker.
Just beyond the hand of John Shaga.
Ball is given to Shepko. He hurdles the line across the 45 to the 43-yard line. Another first down for the Leopards.
I really think we're seeing a fired-up Leopard team. They really want this game pretty
high
badly.
jump in action there. Good cut-down tackle by Dave Mecca, but not until Shepko had picked it up.
You know, Shepko started the day only 37 yards short of Greg Drew, who is the national 1AA leader from Boston University. I don't know that he'll be able to catch Drew, certainly, but he made a good year out of it.
Magnificent second effort in there by Craig Williams, who looked like he was going to be hit way back at the line of scrimmage and then rattles off nearly 10 yards inside the 35-yard line.
That's why they call him the human thigh.
Fetterman earlier this week, Denny, I know he said that in a lot of ways, sometimes Williams scares him more than Shepko does. Very difficult to bring down.
Second down and 1 to go. A quarterback's dream call. Ball at the 35-yard line, 5:32 remaining. They elect to go for the first down, and Shepko has it with room to spare inside the Lehigh 30-yard line. Stop made by John Shigo.
Lafayette front line just moving him out of there.
Well, it's an old cliche, but generally these games come down to the trenches, and I think right now at least Lafayette is really controlled, not just in this quarter, but in the entire second half. They've done a good job keeping that Lehigh rush off of Novak, and now they're doing a good job moving people out on the rush.
Novak's going to throw it. Incomplete at the 15-yard line. Al Cognitti, the intended receiver. Fine defensive effort back there for the Lehigh Engineers to triple team him with 5:03 unofficially remaining in the football game. Lafayette 10, Lehigh 3.
I'm certainly no coach, but this might be a pretty good time to go with one of those crazy plays that Russo has in his bag of tricks.
Shepko is out wide right. Williams alone now in the backfield. Play action pass to the right. Thrown, open man, completion at the 15-yard line.
That's Carmine DeSantis, the freshman out of Staten Island.
Big break here. Looks like a holding call. That's going to be a key call.
And that will call back a fine pass and a great reception.
Real tough break for the Leopards. Novak held that ball, and he had Zablowski all over him, and he threw the ball at the last second. A beautiful pass. Magnificent pass.
Talking to Joe McAlera, let's hear the call.
Holding White on the pass.
And so, that fine play going to DeSantis from Novak is being called back because of the holding call against Lafayette. That's enough to give a coach gray hairs if he has any to begin with.
Well, Bill's a fairly young man, but Joe Sarah's got enough for both of them.
Ball back at the 45-yard line. And so it now moves to a second down and 20 instead of a first down and 10 way down at the 15-yard line. 4:52 remaining in the game, but the clock continues to tick on down. And you can't win if you don't get the football, and John Whitehead and his crew know that.
Frank Novak's just had an exceptional year. He's been twice ECAC Rookie of the Week and twice honorable mention for Rookie of the Week. It's also nice to have a quarterback you can count on for 2 or 3 years to come.
Novak is back to throw it from the shotgun, and it's overthrown, intended to Apatkowitz. And John Shigo thought that he had his hands on that ball, but could not intercept for Lehigh.
That was one of those plays where both the receiver and the defender thought they should have had it, pounded themselves on the head.
Time running out, and that's all that remains in the 117th game in this long series. College football's most played series based on the total number of games played. Lehigh and Lafayette in what was billed as a great battle, and that's precisely what it's been. Lafayette leading 10-3. Novak to throw it, and he throws low, and that was a poorly thrown pass, and lucky for the Leopards, intended for Corbo, but nearly intercepted.
Actually, Corbo slipped down on the wet turf there. He was supposed to run an out pattern, but fortunately it was wide enough the defender couldn't get to him.
Jim Gum nearly intercepted it. And so now the Lehigh Engineers will get the ball back with a little over 4 minutes remaining. Mike Toohey, hoping for a run back, is standing back at the Lehigh 12-yard line. Shar will punt for Lafayette from the 42. A line shot coming up the field, and Toohey elects just to let the ball roll, and it rolls dead at the 12-yard line. Thus far in this half, Lafayette has picked up 9 first downs, and Lehigh has picked up 3, and that's been the story. So the Lehigh Engineers now have 88 yards to go and 4.5 minutes to do it if they're to get back into this football game, trailing by a score of 10-3.
I think you'd have to go back an awful lot of years to find the number of times that Lehigh has been inside the other team's 50-yard line. I wouldn't even want to try to count them right now. They've really been up against it, and again, they're starting on the 12-yard line.
Ball carried out to the 13-yard line. There was a fumble, and let's see, it may have been after the whistle. Dabo carrying, Wallace making the stop for the Leopards. Raybuck coming back into the lineup.
Rich Dover, I'm sorry, Shell. Rich Doverspike picked up the ball. Of course, the play had already been blown dead, and he saw nothing but end zone.
Ball at the 13-yard line. Mapalski finally throws it, and interference, I believe, is going to be called against the Leopards here. The intended receiver was Tom Nichols, and he was sandwiched at the 20-yard line.
I think they're going to call it against Tom Nichols on offense, or at least Lafayette thinks so.
Yep, against the Leopards.
Very, very tough break there. He was double covered, had very little chance to catch the ball. Real tough break for the defenders.
I tell you, Mapalski just unloaded that ball an instant before he was really hammered to back at the 10-yard line.
Can't really disagree with the call after looking at the replay, but there really was very little chance of having it completed in the first place.
3:52 now remaining in the football game. Lehigh trails Lafayette 10-3. They've got it at their own 21-yard line. Sideline pass completed to Ryan. Ryan out to the 31, and I can't help thinking that Dennis wanted to get out of bounds on that play to stop the clock and could not. He was very close to the sideline marker when he took the ball right there, but elected to try to turn in and pick up some extra yardage rather than go out.
Well, Lehigh's been here before, have they not, Denny? Against Connecticut, their backs were to the wall, and
they have had some pressure games, unquestionably. Close games with Delaware, Connecticut, and Northeastern.
Mapalski back to throw. Penalty flag down. They call it back. Pass is completed up at the 42-yard line, but it may get called back. A penalty flag is down. Back in motion against Lehigh, and that will nullify the completion. Illegal procedure.
Certainly, obviously, that's a very difficult thing. They had some momentum going. They were starting to get Ryan cleared out a little bit. Takes a bit of the wind out of your sails.
I have to give Bob Marr an awful lot of credit. He's been covering Danny Ryan all day, pretty much single coverage, and that was something Connecticut was able to keep down the Engineers by giving up short yardage passing to the backside of the backfield. But
illegal motion offense, second down over.
Second down and 6, 3 minutes, 12 seconds remaining in the game. Lafayette leading Lehigh 10-3. Lehigh's ball back at their own 26-yard line. Larry Mikulski has been at quarterback the entire game for the Lehigh Engineers, and he's going to throw it. Sidelines it, and it's completed to Ryan. He goes out of bounds. That stops the clock. Nice defensive play back there by Bob Marr for Lafayette. And with 3:05 remaining, we'll take another look at that sideline pass.
Well, it's a pass they've been using all afternoon, and one that the Lafayette team seems willing to give up. 6- and 7-yard passes are not likely to be the breaking point in this game. However, the Engineers need some continuity. Without the running game, they've needed those passes to Danny Ryan.
Mapalski looking, now comes back against the grain, and that ball was up for grabs for a moment. Mikulski to Ryan in the middle as he faked to the left and threw back across the grain to Ryan. The ball tipped off Ryan's hands and nearly resulted in an interception. 2:47 now remaining. We hope that wherever you are throughout the Lehigh Valley community or in central Pennsylvania, you've enjoyed coverage of Lehigh Lafayette football today, produced through the remote television facilities of WLVT-TV, channel 39, public television in the Lehigh Valley. This is Shel Siegel along with Denny Deal and Ed Wetzel, and it's been a honey of a game, and we hope that you've enjoyed it wherever you've been.
That's John Osler, the fullback, on another short yardage play. I was just about to comment the relatively few times that the Engineers have thrown to the backs. One to Godbolt, one to Asler, and I think only one other to the running backs, and that's fairly uncommon for the Engineer passing game. They have gone almost exclusively to Tom Nichols and to Danny Ryan.
You know, Lafayette's used the nickel defense almost exclusively in this fourth quarter. I think you're right that going to the backs may be a way to beat that.
Back goes Mikulski. He's being chased. Will he get away? No, he won't. And down he goes. Joe Calhoun, who's been in that backfield. Joe Calhoun has been in that backfield as much as some of the Lehigh backs have been, Ed, today. And we'll look at that on replay. You'll see him chasing it, and Mikulski